We are live.
So, for those of you who laugh at the fact that we always start with a question as to whether or not we are live or aren't live, A, yes, we're live. B, this was not our fault. This was a Twitch thing. So, if in fact Streamlabs tells you that it can't fetch your channel, for one, it means it. For two, go do the thing that the internet says to do and everything will be fine. Hi, guys. I was not prepared to launch now. I don't know what to say. We are good. Welcome to Myth Brigade. It has been 2 weeks. I think we should play every 2 weeks, henceforth.
I was gonna say, I think this is by far the shortest time we've had between this session.
Yeah.
I know, but it seems like the longest, man. There's been a lot going on. James, at the top, did you do more with your lighting? Or did you just get more lit? I don't know. It's just looking good. How are you?
Screen.
Yeah, how are you doing, man?
Doing good. Keeping it together.
Yep. What's your other option? Are you just going to lose your shit?
You wouldn't want to see it.
He's going to show up one session and be like, actually, I'm losing my shit right now. Thanks for asking. Chainsaw murdering. Awesome. How's the other side of Ocala? Is it all right?
It's pretty good.
I'm pretty stoked about this whole daylight savings time thing. So by the time I get home from my commute, it's like, you know, it looks like it's midnight out.
Complete darkness.
Yeah, there's like night crawlers and shit everywhere. Very cool. So what's the latest? What's your news, man? What games you playing? What have you, well, actually, let's ask this. So what did you do with your improvement phase? So for those who watched the last stream that I haven't posted yet, the team got some experience and they've been improving their characters. So what did you do to Grimwald?
I literally got cooler. I picked up cool-headed as part of another class and career that I won't mention.
Okay, well, that's fair. So tell me about cool-headed. What does that do? I mean, for those who have seen previous episodes, nothing phases Grimwald because he always rolls like fabulous success when he's faced with evil and such.
Yeah, rolling the one on that cool test kind of pushed me to get more willpower so I can succeed at that even more often.
Yeah. That could mean that you just, you know, you have some sort of emotional issue or something that you just, you know.
I've already got enough problems on this character. I don't need new ones.
Nice. So, what you don't want to give us any spoilers as to what your plan is with Grimwald at all?
Nope.
Okay. Just to continue to be handsome and unfazed by evil.
Well, without saying, yeah.
I picture the very last battle in this campaign and Grimwald standing before this towering hulk of a massive writhing tentacles and just staring at it like eating a sandwich. Like, I don't even know. Awesome. Eric, Corbin, Moss Brewer, how are you, man?
I'm doing good.
Yeah? What's been going on?
Oh, driving back and forth, working in Orlando, visiting the villages, all that kind of stuff.
That's always fun. That sounds really cool.
Yeah,
to those out on the stream who don't know what the Villages is, that's like, man, the Villages, that sounds super medieval. Little do you know that it's a retirement community in Central Florida that's known, like publicly known nationally as the STD capital of the world. So let that sink in. I'm not kidding. That's not a joke.
That's not why I go there.
I was kidding. You go there
Good
to add to your
clarifier.
collection of STDs. That's awesome. So tell me about Corbin. What in the world have you done with Corbin? Did you make him better at making food or what?
No, I think he's reasonably good at making food. I did make him a little sharper, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's your angle with Corbin? What's his perspective on what's going on here? What is he? What's this experience driving him toward?
Not traveling.
Nice. Very good.
Because traveling apparently is very dangerous.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. But you're an artist. There's plenty of things to paint back home. Fair enough. Geschwind, John, how are you, man?
Good. Couple big weeks over the Slightly Salted Squad. We had Extra Life this past weekend, so thank you to Myth Brigade for donating. And a lot of you, probably some of you out in the chat, we raised about $3,000. Right now it says $2,500, but we got all of Extra Extra Life got DDoSed on Saturday.
Oh shit.
So there's still, so some asshole out there
Yeah,
pays
really.
kids in charity apparently. But some donations are trickling in, including a $500 one that hasn't posted. So we have a ticket open with Extra Life and all this stuff. So once that actually gets through, we'll be at about $3,000, which is well above our goal. So
That's awesome.
that was awesome. So thank you to everybody. And we tried out Cyberpunk Red. We actually played our first session of that on Extra Life for about 2 hours. None of the characters died. They did get into a gun battle. It was essentially became like Precinct 13, except in their apartment building. So it was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Very unforgiving mechanics on it, though. Like, you die very quickly if you start dying. So
that's
unfortunately,
awesome.
I did not kill them. So
you're starting to sound like CJ now. Unfortunately, I did not.
Yeah,
kill
that's a
them.
fair point.
Yeah, so
I
that's
wanna,
really
like,
cool.
get
About
one of them, though.
Nice. So I have questions about the Slightly Salted Squad videos. So also, Myth Brigade, the YouTube channel, is going to be featuring some of your rules bits, or whatever you're calling that slice around the cyberpunk system, just to kind of broaden the content. So John has been doing kind of rundowns of the system, the mechanic, character creation and stuff. So I'm really excited because that means that I don't have to do it because I'm bad at that. John is good at that, and so that works out. So watch for that on the YouTube channel. Oswald Rivers, you were in the light there for a second, but then it went dark again. So what's going on, man?
Yeah, it's because I was looking at something. Not much has been going on really. I'm just kind of living day to day here in the good old Rose City and kind of just making my life happen. You know what I mean? But you're speaking about Oswald. He's had a couple of moments actually.
He said, "I got to come back to Geshwin in a second because I forgot to ask that, but we'll get back there."
Yeah.
So what did you do?
So like, I kind of made a deal with like a proverbial devil or a poltergeist, probably a poltergeist.
I think I described her face as a pot roast.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did. You made it into court, and we'll talk about that in a second. What did you do? What did Oswald achieve with his experience? How did he grow?
So Oswald has formulated in his head that he is going to obtain his at least what he set out to do without the help of the school. So effectively, he is as good as a engineer now. Like he can, he makes that much of a difference when it comes to that. So he's an actual like titled, not just an apprentice. So he's gotten a little bit more kind of knowledgeable, and just through his travels with on the caravan, he seemed to always kind of get that direction right. Where he's always been like directionally minded, so he's been gearing up towards being like, he always knows, just because like the way the trees are, the way the sun moves or the moon moves, where north is. He always can find his direction. So
let me ask. So how does it strike him? So my direction sense, like, is always kind of like this intuition that I can literally feel. Is it just kind of a looking around, or is it this intuitive sense? Does his nipples get hard?
I think more or less for Oswald, it's a sense of like, maybe he's always had like a good sense of direction, and he's been directionally minded. But this new experience kind of opened his mind up a little bit and made him like breathe a breath of fresh air and experience, and kind of like molded that into his now new faculty of like always knowing where north is and south and east and west, where he directionally could go.
Yeah. So one thing about the engineer. So obviously any skill, given the compressed timeline that the storyline has taken so far, the development, you've got the book, you have studied obsessively. One of the things that you would really love to do is get to Ubersreich and take a test. And become an actual sort of accredited engineer. You've got the skills,
backing. Yeah.
Get the stamp. That's awesome. Good. I'm gonna go back real quick to Geshwin. What did you do, Geshwin, to develop yourself there?
Well, I actually got a little tougher and a little faster and a little better with weapons, so that I can actually be a true messenger rather than just like a runner. So I had that bit of a career advancement, so hopefully I'm a little better used on the road rather than just fleeing constantly. Maybe I can actually hold myself a little bit in battle at this point.
Yeah, and you've had some fights to actually sort of drive that development as well, which makes sense, and some retreats as well. Yeah, nice. Jim, how are you doing, man?
Doing great. Things are good. I'm in a little bit of a lull at work, on a crunch mode for the next couple of weeks till the next big project starts. So I'm completely addicted to Monster Hunter. The expansion pack came out last week or a couple weeks ago, and I am cripplingly addicted to it.
Have you set like OKRs for how many monsters you're gonna slay like that week? And
Yeah, pretty much.
You've got like a scrum board.
It's sad. I have an Excel spreadsheet. It's
That's so good.
But in terms of Bartleby's advancement, I haven't really picked what I'm going to do yet. So I'm sitting on some XP right now and kind of seeing how things go this session.
He's just you're gonna have this bank of XP and suddenly just be like blossom into this. he's gonna come out like an action hero and all this crazy armor that nobody even realized he had in a bag.
I think Bartleby should go down that whole warrior side and just go whole hard into some sort of like, I don't know, like sailor kind of fighter. I don't know, like he's always been in the rough of things.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, or standing back and watching those who shouldn't be in the rough of things, like. No, that's not the way I do that at all.
Yeah, River Warden is a definite possibility.
Yeah, outstanding. Okay, so we're here at 9:17 p.m. So why don't we get started? When last we met, it was 2 weeks ago. The party picked up on the heels of their combat outside of the inn there in Feldweg, the Feldweg Arms. At the advice of Sven and led by Sven, you trekked out into the Reikwald dark forest. The thing that's particularly creepy about this dome is as time passes, refuse and snow and God knows what gathers on the dome, so it's almost always night here at this point. You visited a strange ruin. It was a house at one time. It was probably a lovely house, occupied, it seems, by a family that underwent some sort of attack. It seemed from visions that I believe Oswald had after interacting with the denizens of this cottage, that a witch hunt took place here, and that flames might have taken the mother and badly disfigured the sister. You're not sure what to make of the entity that the sister had with her. It seemed at first from a distance like a fetus in a cage, as I described, but the closer Oswald got, trying in earnest to get healing from this witch or folk healer, what have you, it seemed at first like a baby, but the closer you got, it was a strange, disfigured worm-like creature that seemed to have some symbiotic connection to Freda. I'm sorry, Ida. It's Ida Freda. No, I'm sorry, that's right, Freda. I'm dumb. Oswald, after talking to this entity who coasted along the floor, has promised his life in return for this entity's services. We're not sure how that's going to play out. Also, you agreed to return her heart. Oswald deduced, of course, that I mean, it's kind of like everything's in the catacombs. There's a Walmart in the catacombs too. Oswald deduced that the heart must also be there, and that maybe all of this is related. So, Oswald, I'm going to ask you, like, what were you thinking from your perspective? What were you thinking at that moment?
You're talking about specifically when Oswald made the bargain.
Yes.
I think it wasn't about him. It was about making sure that we do what is he does what he has to see that everybody makes it to Uberstrike and to get there as fast as possible. He doesn't care at this point what it is. I mean, obviously, if something important is happening in Uberstrike, he wants to be there because his family is there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So
not only that is that, you know, even though I call him the Fat Man, good old is somebody important to me, obviously. So I have made a pledge to get him there. By God, I'm going to get him there.
He's gonna go to your wedding. I can't wait to roleplay that.
God.
What just a quick weigh in as we get into this from the rest of you. What were your characters' thoughts at the tail end of that? Because we did have to end kind of abruptly. I'd like to start with Bartleby. Watching this over the other's shoulders and standing back, obviously being spooked a bit. Did we lose you, Jim?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you called me.
No, I was saying, what were Bartleby's thoughts on what he witnessed?
Yeah. I heard the question, I just didn't hear Bartleby. Bartleby is pretty sure he's gonna burn for this.
Yeah, you think just just seeing this is gonna taint you?
Yeah. Well, maybe not taint me, but maybe it's something that normal folk aren't supposed to see or interact with, and Bartleby is very much a normal folk.
You pray to Sigmar.
So he's probably a little worried about what's going to happen the next time he steps foot in a church.
Nice. I like that, and so maybe at some level he feels that tug. He feels that tug toward Sigmar, old Siggy. What about you, Geshwin? So you were in the midst of this, and there were a couple of interactions where you got kind of freaked out, as I recall.
Yeah, I'm probably still trying to reel over what I actually saw. Like, I've seen a lot of things in my life on the roads and stuff like that. I've seen hostility and terrible things. We saw in the past, day, though? A burning at the stake. We've seen rat zombie-ish things. We've seen real zombie-ish things. Seen my comrades eaten by plants maybe 2 days ago. So at this point, I'm just kind of like, it can't get worse than this, right? I'm just kind of reeling, but whatever this weird path my life has taken, we have at least a calling here to hopefully help right a wrong that happened many years ago, based on what Oswald saw.
Yeah, and a brotherhood as well that seems to be emerging from that. I like that a lot. Corbin.
Well, just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse, Oswald goes and trades his life or his soul or whatever with a worm in a jar.
So this is your drinking buddy. Are you put it like that? It sounds kind of stupid, man. Come on. No, but really, are you worried about him?
Yes. I'm concerned that Oswald is not long for this world anymore.
That sucks, and he's been your protector.
Would it be said to say that you think Oswald is doomed?
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Because every character does a dooming.
Every human. What about
every human?
Yeah. What about Grimwald? What do you? I mean, you were like, I don't know. Worms in a jar, not scary. But what? But what do you really actually think, despite your whatever your?
It seems like this village is caught between two less than savory powers, and they're having a bit of a dispute here. Whatever is behind these sisters, and then whatever is causing all this rotten stuff to rise up and attack people.
And are you curious, or are you kind of afraid? Like, what do you fear for your friends, or you fear for yourself? Or you?
Yeah, I think we're in danger, but I also think, like, these things shouldn't be here. They don't belong in the earth. But I don't know if we have the ability to deal with that.
You're like, I'm gonna fucking try. And out comes Bartleby in his special armor, like power armor with guns and stuff, and it's like, let's go. I spent my XP. All right, so flash forward a little bit. There are moments when the scene, from what you remember as you open your eyes, and you some weird gray, diffused, ugly sunlight is creeping in through what might have once been windows. The memories that you have of last night are fleeting. You remember, of course, the twins, the girls, the ladies. You remember the conversations and everything we just discussed, but there were moments after that got progressively more vague. She spoke and she incanted over each of you, and you recall feeling trust, but also shame in accepting whatever it was that she was doing. However, any of you with wounds remember fleeting glimpses of tiny worms emerging from those wounds and binding together almost like laces and then flattening out to produce skin where wounds once were. And each of you at some point had some wounds, superficial from falling down, skinning your knee, that sort of thing. Some of you were wounded actually meaningfully. They're all gone. Bartleby, you're the first to wake up because you're the ever observant one. Your eyes are thick with some sort of mucus and you kind of nasty taste in your mouth. There's a smell in the air that you don't like. It smells like fungus, rot. And the place that you're in is a forgotten shack. Everything I said before about the furnishings and them having fallen apart and all that sort of stuff, that remains true. But it's clear that there's no other people here. It's just your party lying about sleep. No sign of Freda or her sister. What do you do?
All right. I think I should probably make a cool check.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
I picture him like, waking up and putting a big wad of chewing tobacco in his mouth for some reason. Nice. You have, in fact, succeeded. Success level of 0.
I have succeeded.
So you just kind of hold it together. You're okay.
So Bartleby is, of course, startled. This is beyond anything that he's seen before. And looking around to the rest of the party, he'll begin to wake people up.
Okay. Who do you wake up first?
I think I'd probably wake up Corbin first.
Okay, you do, and he's nearest you because, as you recall, he kind of likes to hide behind you because kind of figures if you're in the fray, it's good, and if you're standing back, it's probably smart. Corbin, you wake. You feel something tugging at you, and so that your face is kind of being dragged back and forth against this dirty floor. There's a rough wood, and the edge of a rug, the edge of a moldy rug, so you smell that kind of mildewy, and then that sort of stinging fungus against your face.
I push away from it.
You do, and you lift your head to see Grimwald's ass, not bare. He's wearing pants this time.
Well, that's good.
Still nice.
It is pretty good. I mean, honestly, let's make a good ass roll. It's probably good.
I push away from that too.
You do, but you look around, and what I described is very much the same. You see Bartleby there looking kind of around. This place is a shambles, and last night, yes, it was definitely seemed broken and unnatural, but shell and a lot of the furniture before that seemed to at least have a little life left in the wood. It's great. What do you do?
I don't remember wanting to fall asleep in this place, so I would like to make an exit from this place.
Okay, so you get up and scramble out the door. Is that your thought?
Yeah.
Okay. You step over Geschwind toward the door, and you notice along the floor, and there's a lot of dust. So clear footpaths and things that you did. One thing that's like almost like a kind of flashback. The toenail marks of that thing scraping forward toward the door. They're there. What you remember was certainly real. But you feel okay. You feel actually pretty good. You look out into the outside and you see Sven, a bit of a distance, I would add, away from the house, sitting there smoking a pipe. The rest of your friends
You
are
stayed out
sleeping.
there all night.
Seems, yes.
I'll go say good morning to him.
You go walking out. Bartleby, what do? You see Keo Corbin just kind of looks around and just jets out the door.
Bartleby will roll his eyes and continue to wake up.
Oswald, you're next. You sort of wake up and kind of looking around. You of course see Bartleby there with his sort of dour, those deep-seated kind of caring eyes of his, looking at you as he wakes you up. You wipe the sleep from your eyes. You feel great, refreshed. But yeah, it's weird as you look around. This place is different than you remember. What do you do?
Yeah, so Oswald, he kind of like
like wipes like a layer of mucus off his face, and like off his eyes specifically, and like
It's just like
yeah, and like he goes to sit up, and he shakes his head. Do I still have that flower in my hand?
In fact, you sit up, and your back kind of hurts. Most of you are probably a bit stiff from sleeping on this sort of just floor. And as you sit up and kind of look down, the flower, as if it's never been picked, tumbles down from your chest where it apparently was when you were sleeping, and lands on the in your lap, as bright as it was when it was handed to you.
So something that Oswald's going to commit to his memory. Rivers may not, but Oswald will.
The stream will remember.
Yeah. Something that Oswald's going to remember. He's going to like flash back to like, you remember how you described like the lady like flashed to like a young, prettier version of herself?
Yep.
Right before everything went super fuzzy and she was handing him the flower.
Yep.
I think he's going to commit her like image to his head. And like kind of like push himself up and start flinging a little bit more of this fucking slime off of him, and offer a hand to somebody next to him, like anyone who hasn't gotten up yet.
Yeah, so you roll that flower around in your hand, and you can remember it as if it were a maiden at the county fair. She was beautiful then. That's what she would have been. Still don't understand that. But yeah, you committed to memory. Wipe the healing slime or whatever off. And everybody in general at this point, the stirring of people around. Guess when you come to Grimwald, you wake up as well. You feel like maybe the halfling might have been staring at your butt, but you don't know. What do you do? And what's the, so the halfling is gone. The halfling is walking elsewhere.
I know the dome kind of makes it so it's always a little dark, but do we think it is truly like morning at this point?
It is, in fact. You look out the window, and it's just this awful, nauseating, grayish sort of green. The light diffused through whatever pollen and God knows what is landing on this thing. Yeah, it's as light as it's going to be, it seems. You don't know what time. I mean, you kind of based on your internal clock, you think probably early morning, just after dawn.
I look for the cage and see if there's still a small worm-like thing in there.
Okay. Give me, please, if you will, a perception roll as you look around.
Let's see.
Oh. Suddenly you recognize all things in the universe.
I'm just a character.
So what concerns you, Geschwind, is as you've been only in this room, and literally you've not seen other rooms, but for some reason this morning as you wake up, you know where to look for the cage. You step through what once might have been a ramshackle door that led to the kitchen area, and there stands a rusty, disused, forgotten cage. Same, very much the same kind of stand with the arch hook, and in there some sort of sad tatters of what might once have been organic. But no, the worm's not that it was bouncing before, but it's not there.
Not the same.
Yeah. The thing that bothers you about that guy,
shiver.
Yeah, so you don't know why you know that it was here. But yeah.
I'm going to leave this house.
You're like, I wish I could be with the halfling right now.
Yeah.
So as you step back, or as you kind of turn and go walking out, you keep hearing, "We have an goal." You walk towards the door. You can see the halfling at this point approaching Sven. Sven is there. Corbin, I'm going to give Grimwald an opportunity. What do you do when you first kind of stretch? You see all this going on. You know, Bartleby's there. Oswald's there, kind of shaking things off, stretching his muscles and whatnot. What do you do?
I'm a little angry and confused that I woke up in this house and leave immediately.
Do you fix your hair first? do you fix your hair first? I'm just kidding.
Nope, it's that bad.
Yeah, it's that bad. You stand and kind of look around. You don't remember anything, but the thing that strikes you is you remember this sort of scratch along your elbow, a superficial wound, but one that kind of hurt. It's one of those, right? Like a paper cut almost, like a gone, completely gone. And you looking at your elbow, you remember the worm, the disappearance of it.
Angrier.
You step outside.
Talk to Sven.
You do. You step out. Yeshwin at this point's off, looking in the kitchen. Ultimately, the rest of you step out. So for a quick second, as you're kind of gathering and making your way out, ultimately winding up Ben. Corbin, you approach. He's puffing on his pipe with his curved back. It's especially curved as he sits on this log.
And I stretch, trying to work the kinks out of my back from sleeping on the floor. And morning to you. You've been here all night.
Thought I would wait. I heard from a distance some of the noise. Went very quiet, he says.
What noise?
Well, your reactions to the sisters.
Puffs his pipe.
That is, in fact, what you saw last night, isn't it?
I think so.
He smiles with his weird teeth.
Trust you feel better then.
Yes and no.
Why no? You look better. You could use a bath, I suppose. If I say so myself, he says. He laughs.
They are notorious for being wonderful judges of character. Those didn't venture out of the house. I knew what would happen. You were the ones that would come. I could tell from Geschwind.
He seems to just be beaming about Geschwind. Why?
Go back in the house.
Oswald fixed his door. But he's beaming about Geschwind.
Pretty special, all right. So where could we get a spot of breakfast around here?
Well, the forest is a large place, I suppose.
I don't know that I want to go into the forest for breakfast.
You are in the forest for breakfast. He smiles.
I don't want to go any further into the forest for breakfast.
Shouldn't
You
be
might
hard.
end up breakfast.
About then, Grimwald comes walking up. What did you say? I didn't catch it. I'm sorry.
You might end up breakfast.
He looks up and
This place is quite safe.
You may trust that. One of your number has made a bargain.
The sisters mentioned retrieving their heart and pointed us towards the crypts.
Yes, she did.
How do you know all that?
My son made a promise as well. He was but a teen, full of his vigor. Let us not worry about that for now. We have worse things to worry about, do we not? He looks up at the sky. Trust you found what you seek. You look well. He looks over each of you.
That witch that they burned, that was an outsider.
It was. He had been in town for a short time. He swore that his purpose here was not nefarious. I am not one for the practices of my town, but I must say I think I might support the decision.
We're losing bits of your audio, or at least I am.
Yeah, I am too sometimes.
I don't know why. It's probably Zoom. Is that what you say to Sven? Listen, Sven.
Bits of your audio.
We are losing
Sven,
bits
you're
of your...
breaking up.
No, so
The simulation is breaking down.
yes, that's right. He speaks up and
Jessop Stahler was the man, the man that was, who perished outside of my inn, he says. The thing that became Jessop Stahler. His farm is just to the north, not far from the place you believe is your destination.
So is my question is has Oswald walked out of the building yet? Because I don't think I said he did.
I don't know. What is Oswald doing? That's a great question, actually.
So I think during this time they're having their conversation, I think Oswald has finally like picked himself up and gathered his stuff, and he's like looking around this place to look for like the he's got like the flower in his hand. It looks brand new, right?
It does, yeah.
I have the research skill now, which is a special skill, and I want to look at it with a more discerning eye.
The flower itself.
Yeah. To see if it's like actually still living, like maybe like squeeze in a bit to see if it's still like got like a process or like you know, his more inquisitive nature, I should say, is taking hold. Like he wants to know if this thing's actually alive. So give me 1 second to actually do that. And also, while I'm waiting to make this roll, as everybody kind of filters out, Oswald like looks around and like is looking inside the cabin. Do I like notice anything different or it's like ruin, I should say? It's wrong to call it a cabin.
You absolutely notice that this place is even more of a ruin than it was when you visited last night. Perhaps it's because it was dark and you know, torchlight does warm things up. This light that's filtering in from the dome could very well just be causing things to look more dilapidated, but the wood is just gray and empty of all moisture, and it's just dust and little weird scraps of refuse on the ground. The rugs are moldered and starting to turn into more plant and mold than rug. It's been a long time. You have obvious questions about, like, hey Sven, bro, why did you bring us here? But yeah, you're just looking around and it doesn't add up.
But I think what Oswald is going to do during that is he's looking for like the bird cage / little jar thing that was there. Is it still there?
Wait, one more time? I broke up on you that time. I'm sorry.
The little jar thing the worm was in, is it there?
No, not in that room. It's not.
Oswald actually is going to go look around in all the rooms in this area. Maybe that's why he comes out so long. So we could like swap back to somebody else as he's doing that.
Sure. So you look around. So give me a perception roll, but also give me your research roll, and let's see what fantastic things you learn about this flower.
Yeah, give me 1 second, and let's do perception.
The rest of you kind of gather as Oswald hangs back, and you know, Bartleby, do you just kind of leave the scene? Do you leave Oswald in there on his own? Like, how does that play out?
Bartleby will wait, and as soon as he sees that Oswald is taking more time to investigate, Bartleby's out.
Nice. So you just gotta you sort of make your way out, crunching through the leaves along the forest floor. So you return at kind of about the point that I heard a roll. Nice. So your perception. I'll get you in a second. So you return to the group, and they're sitting there kind of chatting with Sven, who at this point is talking something about a farmer's house, something about the thing that was Jessop Stahler. At that point, Oswald, you step into the kitchen, and you notice what I described earlier: an old, rusted cage, intended obviously for a pet bird or something of the sort. And it's barely hanging there, and it's certainly not what you encountered last night. What do you do when you have that realization? What do you do?
Oh, I think you're muted.
Nope. Yeah, you're muted.
I think Oswald kind of takes a moment and takes it all in, and then realizes the deal he made, and he's going to
He's
look
oh,
around,
shit.
look around, and like just the whole scene, see if he can like just get a glimpse of something, and then his kind of like more obsessive nature kind of sets in, and he sees this like broken cage, and with like I guess like one of his tassels like on his clothing, like it would be made out of like brass or something. He like undoes it and then like uses it to fix like a link in the chain so it's actually like sitting properly in the cage, and then like he like shuts the door on the cage, like the bird cage, and then probably like looks around once more and then starts making his way out, like look over the shoulder into the hollowed out room as he like goes to step out.
Yeah, so you do, and as you touch the cage, there's a sudden flash, and in earnest you're like, yeah, I'm gonna help, and your OCD is helping you with this, right? Because that's kind of your thing. We're figuring that out. I'm diagnosing you, right? But you reach up to, and as soon as you touch the chain, you're drawn back, and the light around you changes, and it warms, and it gets so much more pleasant. You smell bread, you smell eggs. It's morning. You hear birds, and there are no birds here. You hear this voice, this cute little voice. What's that, Mommy? And you hear, step back, go to your room. She's, but, and then suddenly, you're back out of it, and your hand is there on that little cage that contained whatever it was that cute little girl was pointing at.
Okay, well, I think with that, Oswald like takes his hand back, but I think he maybe like looks at it a little bit and like reaches into his like pocket, pulls out like a embroidered handkerchief from his family, and like goes to continue what he was doing, like fixing it, but with like a clubbered hand, basically.
Gloriosa superba. It occurs to you as your OCD forces you to finish your job. This is the flower of plant, or the species of flower that you have, that you've probably set aside on a counter. Every part of that plant is incredibly poisonous if ingested. It is being used for murder, suicide, to kill animals. Somewhat famous in these parts, actually.
Okay. Well, I think Oswald, he's gonna like, when he's looking at the plant, like maybe it's just like an epiphany that he has, as like he set the plant down and he like looks over at it, and like as he like finishes the clasp again so it sits upright, and he's looking at it while he shuts the door, and then like he reaches over to the plant and then pulls out like maybe like a small canister or like a tube or something that he has in his engineer bag, and he just shoves the flower in it, and then actually no, what he does is he goes to put it in there, and he looks at it for a minute, and then puts it, like opens up a pocket, puts it in there to like sit there with the flower out.
Okay. Oh, nice, like a boutonniere. That's pretty.
Yeah.
That's pretty epic. So you're like, okay, I got you. So you put the poisonous flower in there. You've sorted out the cage. As you step away, you're kind of you're done now. Conversation's going on outside, obviously. 2 steps toward the door, and you could swear you hear what sounds like a cage door sort of clinking. And you glance over your shoulder to find once again this empty, rickety thing that you've now made a little better, just swaying slightly. Just slightly.
Yeah, he's getting the heebie-jeebies at that. He's gonna be like, look over his shoulder, see that it's swaying in a motionless room with no air current, no dome, and he looks at it and goes, right.
Like,
I die.
Bye. Yeah.
Yeah. So he will as he approaches the ruined cottage door. Is there like a ruin of the door that's sitting there?
The door is still sort of there. It's just not closed. So yeah, you can just kind of sail right on through it. You think if you try to move it close, it's gonna fall.
I do sail right through it, and then like as I pass through the threshold, I like turn around and like reach in and shut the door.
You feel that chill, right? That chill that you get when you feel like you're being watched. That EMF field chill. As you close the door, it barely tolerates you're moving it, but it holds. The rest of you guess. So what are you doing? So you're kind of gathered around Sven. He was referencing something about Jessop Stahler's farm. Corbin was leading the conversation.
I'm sorry?
Corbin was leading the conversation at the time.
Hey, I kind of chime in and say, well, I'm sure Jessop's farm may be, something good to look into. I feel like we should probably make haste to the crypts if we're going to fulfill whatever he agreed to, and hopefully get out of this cursed place.
Yes. Our agreements are binding, I must. But I have faith. I would not have brought you here if I did not.
He takes your hand like a grandfather would take like his grandchild's hand.
I had faith. But the farms are along the way. I would ask. He had children. Wife.
He looks down at the ground, sort of understanding what that might mean.
We can check on them.
Thank you for obviously showing us out here. I know how uncomfortable that is. I kind of look around reluctantly. The least we could do is stop by the farm, as if it's on the way to the crypt. I guess I have no good argument there. I can't trail off.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, fuck, great, that's wonderful. Maybe at least there's milk. I mean, there might be food there. You think there's not a whole lot to eat.
Eggs and bacon.
Yes.
Yes, is there breakfast on the way?
Yeah.
If we're going to go marching into some place that might, we might not march out of, maybe we could at least have a full belly first.
I would second that.
Do you not go to Halfling Valhalla if you die with an empty stomach?
Exactly. A pint of something would be good too.
Let's go to the dead farmer's house and eat all his food, drink all his beer, and then go fight monsters. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
But what do you do? So Sven, kind of at this point, Oswald sort of comes, walking out from the cottage. You don't feel malice here as you look back, but you do feel this very lonely dread. You never want to come back to this place, but something tells you that you might have to. Oswald, you rejoin the group. Sven's there. They seem to have resolved something. They're chatting amongst themselves, like, yes, and pointing in the direction north-ish. Well, you would know. It's definitely not exactly north.
They're pointing almost directly north.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe as one of them are pointing, like doing the hand point, like, and they say the word like, "Oh yeah, it is north. That's where we need to go." I grab the tip of his finger and turn it just a little bit.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, you do that.
Yeah.
And the camera's a close up of the finger now pointing.
Yeah, yeah, it does the side view where it's it's moving, but the camera's moving like this, and then it stops in front of it as it's moving still. There's 4 different moving objects or directions anyway, so the camera's all swoopy.
So make sure
God, I forget that cinematographer that I used to love. It was back in the 90s. He used to really love his camera pans. It was in all the gangster movies. He did some work on Godfather, I thought. But anyway.
Oh no! Ask the chat. Chat. What in the world is he talking about? Cinematographer that did some work on The Godfather. Get back to us, if you could. What do you guys do? So you're there. You're hungry, obviously, but you're uninjured. So make sure you remove all your wounds. Any condition that you have, you are refreshed and in good shape. What do you do?
Well,
I'm towards the farms.
Yeah,
head that way.
Especially if it's along the way. I mean,
it is. It's ironically exactly along the way.
Perfect.
No matter which way you take to get there, the farms are there. So
what's our status of the fortune and resolve? Has that refreshed, or is it still depleted?
I will say that it is in fact refreshed, though, with this rest and healing and such. So you move north, leaving the scene of the sisters' cottage behind. The further you step away from it, the less visible it even is. You can understand how it would easily be lost here, and you would probably need a guide to find it again. You move north around a path that almost seems to close in behind you. The forest watches every step, that's for sure. The fungus on the trees and the mushrooms on the ground almost seem to twist as if to watch and see. And it's deathly quiet. No birds. It is nothing. It's winter, granted. It's, I think I said it was around October, right? So it's pretty cold. But nonetheless, you leave the scene behind, and the further you get away, the more your spirits are lifted. You do feel refreshed. There is this oppressive dome and darkness and the strange haze, if you will, the strange diffused light. You move along toward the north. Ultimately, you do realize that you are following a path. Sven leaves you to your business. Soon you come to a sign. It is reasonably well maintained. It looks, in fact, like the sign for the Stahler's farm was recently carved. It's in a flattened face of a small log, so it's round on the back, right, and then nailed up to this kind of crooked signpost. You see a very clear footpath. It's freshly used, leafy, no noise. Just leads up into the trees. What do you do, and what's your marching order?
I like the middle.
I'll go up front. I'll have the sword at the ready since we've fought the owner of this place already, apparently.
I mean, Oswald does his patented, like he rearms his flaming stick of a torch, and he's just walking up with basically a stick. Like he's made sure everybody else gets the big weapons, and he's got this, like, what used to be a torch is now a club.
What about you?
I'll be, I guess, I can be at the very back or midway back. I'm just kind of still not confident with weapons by any means, but I have the rapier that we got from the caravan, and kind of like making sure it's like actually tied like to my waist well and like sturdy, and I know how to pull it out. I'm like almost practicing type thing of, okay, I got this.
Nice. Okay. So, Bartleby, what are you doing? So it's just a farm,
yeah.
Probably.
So Bartleby's probably close to the front, but not in front. And he's sort of resolved in his mind that this cannot be weirder than what they encountered the night before. So he's relieved, honestly, walking this way.
Okay.
But he's
nice.
still a little on edge.
And your stomach's growling a bit, right? So there's that.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a meal on the other side of this, if nothing else. So armed and so ordered. I'm dropping you on a map, but you make your way along this path. There are a couple things that you notice almost immediately. There's a fort that looks like some youth has built, sort of off to the left of this footpath. It's very primitive at best, even by these standards, little sticks, but it's clearly in this little kind of teepee shape. And it looks like he's carved a coat of arms and into a larger piece of rotted wood, but it's still there, kind of leaned up against this thing as you walk past. And ahead of you, you can see it looks like actual masonry, like maybe this whoever owns this farm has actually built a low wall in the distance of small rocks. And so you walk, it's very quiet, eerie. You're waiting to see sort of like, corpses lying everywhere or whatever. And in the distance you hear maybe the sound of a cow. This is exciting for those of you who are hungry and know that you have the halfling with you, because he won't kill the cow, but he can cook the shit out of that cow if you'll murder it. So you quicken your pace. And
we don't
let
really
me
have
finish.
time to butcher a cow.
You're
Depends how
like,
hungry we are.
Speak for yourself. Let's say, did I get Corbin? Okay, there's Corbin. Let me show you guys a map here. Not that one. Okay. Boink, boink, boink. I gotta be conscious of what I'm streaming here, because like I've got one browser showing what I want the stream to see, but I keep forgetting. There you guys are. Okay. So you should be able to see in your Roll20s, right? Like your people.
Yep.
A quick verify that you have control of your people, because that gets weird sometimes. So as you step up, there's this fairly impressive set of low walls. They're made of stone, obviously kind of stacked on, kind of mortared in. But it's an impressive farm. There's a lot of overgrowth, mind you. The trees here, depicted here, are tall and kind of sag in front of the building, because it's a sort of forest farm. But you do, in fact, think you hear a cow. Give me a perception roll. First one in the chat gets the result, or first one in the roller gets the result for the group.
How difficult is it?
It is okay.
Who wants to do it?
Bartleby's like, fuck it. He's like, I don't care. This is so much cooler than the witch's house. So you're walking in past you
And
notice
more
off
normal.
Yes, you notice off to your left there's sort of very, very nicely maintained vegetation, little personal crops and things. There's some cabbage, you think, and various veggies. That's what your perception roll earns you. Cabbage. What do you guys do? Do you go storming in?
Breakfast.
Well, I mean, I think Oswald's gonna make his way to around, let's see, to at least through the rest of the field and up into the street where this guy's house is. I mean,
Okay.
Savin asked us to go check on his kids, so.
So move yourself where you're going to be. So you step up.
Sorry, is Sven following us, or is he staying
No,
behind?
he is not. He has stayed
Okay.
behind.
Okay.
Apparently, he wants to hang out with the. I love. Grimwald
stayed
is always
behind
just
where?
right there. Back toward the witch's house. He put you on the road to the north, and then there he stayed. Listen, I'm not going to have a cool NPC die. He's going to be around forever. He and Unter will end up having like a weird. They're going
I'm
to
not
start
convinced
it.
he's not the main villain.
Now that he's not coming with us and you don't want the NPC to die, that makes me worried.
I mean, what I meant is I don't want him to be. Yeah, that's fine. He's probably going to die. So Oswald, you kind of push past Grimwald. Grimwald, you're sort of looking around, and with your action, you step on the first thing that you notice. Obviously, on the map is there is a body lying on the ground, as bodies do when they lie. It is dressed in sort of a reddish, kind of very peasantry kind of clothing. So this very thick kind of wool dress. So it's not like quite as pretty a dress as is shown there. It's feminine in shape from where you sit, and it seems like it might not have been dead super long. From here, you can see pallor. So maybe it's not even dead. What do? You notice this immediately. How do you react when you see it? You just look, and your mind says
Just
body.
Jog over there and see if he's actually dead.
So
Well, I
Oswald,
think
yeah.
I think Oswald is, because his base cool is 4 now. Like his base, his willpower is 3, but his cool as a skill is 40. I think he's more a bit level-headed than most, so he is gonna realize that, oh hey, they might be in trouble. I need to go see. So he, from there, he kind of moves with a purpose towards her side.
So you step up with your movement, move forward. So the rest of you see Oswald kind of look toward the ground and move with purpose as he described in that general direction, like sort of slumping over and letting his guard down a little bit with his weapon, because there's someone obviously lying on the ground. What do the rest of you guys do before I describe what happens?
I was doing the same thing.
Yep. So you see him move. Oswald again was the first to notice. So Grimwald, you notice him moving. You notice the body. You move forward as well.
I'm gonna move kind of like partially forward, seeing that they're already there. I kind of take a moment though and try to look around, thinking that maybe this is like a trap or something like that.
Okay. So you
or whatever threat could still be right around here.
Okay, so you keep an eye out from around. What about Bartleby?
Bartleby's thinking about food and not really paying too close attention after that horrible perception roll. So he's sort of just hanging in the back.
Okay, so you're talking to the halfling about what you could do with the cow. You don't notice them start to move, right? Corbin, what do? You do, in fact, notice the sort of just the group start to file over towards something, although the sad thing is you're kind of short, and your line of sight with Geschwind where he is, you don't know what they're looking at. It could maybe be food. I don't know.
So I kind of wave Bartleby along. We should catch up. And I kind of trot after them, but I can't run as fast as they do, so I'll probably get about here-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bartleby will heed Corbin's advice about.
So Oswald, you slump down. There's obviously movement next to you and kind of movement behind you. You know that your brothers are with you, right? So you feel confident. You kind of slide in on your knees as you would, with someone who's troubled. So it's a younger woman. By young, I would say probably kind of mid-20s. She's pretty but plain. Pretty, probably in her normal state. She's very pale and maybe a little gray. You don't know what the situation is. She doesn't seem to be breathing, but you're also not sure. You're not a physician. What do you do as you slide in? How do you handle this?
Well, he's a thinking man. So
you stop and you're like,
No. I think his immediate thing is he's very intuitive. So I think what he does is like maybe reach down on like, does she have like shoes on or she
has slippers. She does have slippers, so they're cloth, like many shoes are these days, right? They and she doesn't even have the fancy strip of leather that some people do. They're just kind of these little cloth shoes, thicker cloth.
She doesn't obviously look wounded, does she?
She's pale and kind of grayish, but no, she's not squirting blood out, and she has no big major blood situation.
So Oswald, like, he's got the stick in his left hand, and he like lets it down by his side, and he like reaches with his right hand down by her feet, and he like squeezes her toe to kind of like give her like a sort of like, hey, like, like I'm here, are you alive? Like,
okay, so yeah, you reach down. Grimwald, you're right there. Do you just kind of observing? What's your stance? What do you do?
I'm gonna go try and find the kids.
Okay, so you leave the scene then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you head on further northward.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll catch up with you in a second. There's an army of corpses standing around just waiting. They're like, hey, bro. So you reach down and squeeze her feet. Just as Grimwald steps over her, because, nothing phases Grimwald. This is so awesome. So just as you squeeze, you hear this kind of sound like she might be choking. And you glance up. You see her lithe neck just kind of swell a little, like she's trying to breathe. What do you do?
With that, I think Oswald, like, he's gonna try to snap into like, oh shit, she's like choking. So I don't know any first aid, but I think Oswald's gonna try his best to like roll over on her back and like hit her back. So I'm gonna make that like a roll, I guess.
Like whack her with your stick, like that one guy.
No, not whack her with a stick, but like, like roll, like pick her up about her shoulder and like hit her back like this, like, because I'm trying to describe, because I know how to help somebody who's choking, but
yeah,
Oswald doesn't, because he's not medically minded and whatnot. So I'm just gonna attempt a first aid roll.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
Give it a shot. So, Geschwind, you're there, kind of watching, right? And Corbin and Bartleby sort of walk up along your side. And at this point, you notice that Grimwald steps over this woman. So you think she must be dead because he's just stepping over her. He's like on a mission. Oswald, where's your roll?
It's coming right now.
All right.
I'm just doing it from my phone because my laptop is not the best. So
that is fine. Wow. So you
nice.
Nice. So First, yes, you do know what to do for someone choking. First and foremost is you need to get her turned over and whatnot. So you center your thoughts on that action, sliding your arm under the back of her neck. And just as you do, her neck dips back. You think, yeah, that's great. Her head's going to be back and I can start this whole process. And her throat bursts.
Do it.
With maggots and slime and tentacles, and you are ensnared. You gain the entangled condition as shit hits the fan. I'm going to be adding you guys into the initiative order. What do you do, Oswald? So there's this sudden and just fluid, and you taste this bitter, awful taste. What do you do? How do you react to that?
I think his initial reaction is like the jump back instead of like a flinch or just sit there. I think like when he jumps back, he still gets all this on him and he's like entangled in whatever this is. His instant reaction is to go like get whatever's off of him and like stumble backwards and fall over.
Okay, so you feel this splash and this awful bitter taste and hear this sound, and you're just panicked. You pull back and the corpse comes up with you. So the rest of you, the three of you who are behind,
Oh man.
yes, thank you. Oh, so good. You should throw that. You should throw that in the. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, no, the lady.
Yeah,
it wasn't
that is
his
very
fault.
Cloverfieldy.
So. The three of you that are in the back basically see this happen. So he scoops up the body, clearly compassionately, just lifting her up by her neck. Her neck slips back, and it's just like bleh, this stuff comes out. And there are tentacles, in fact, ensnaring him. He's flipping out, but as he stands, he's picking up the corpse. Grimwald, you have first initiative as a round starts. So from behind you, you hear a commotion, like, oh, God, and this slime, this sort of casserole noise, if you've ever stirred a casserole with a spoon. What do you do? So you turn to see this. What do you do?
I try and help Oswald get free of that.
So I'm going to say with your move, right, with that round, I'm going to say you're one round of movement away from the situation because you were moving with purpose, trying to find these kids, right? So you'll move back this round. So we'll say that you arrive about where your character is with your full action. Is that fair?
Okay.
Okay, good. So you turn and you just go hauling ass back, hair blowing in the breeze, slow-mo kicking in, you know. Corbin, what do you do? It's like suddenly that horror camera view where you're just like, and you're on the scene. What do you do?
I'm gonna rush forward and whip out my dagger and try to cut these things off of him.
You have a moment of bravery. You just Geschwin and Bartleby, you're almost stunned. He pulls out his dagger like. Fuck that, and just charges in at this mass of tentacles that are sticking out of this corpse. So
yeah, I mean,
use your move.
Maybe that's something about he's my drinking buddy and all that other stuff. Like that's that bond, like we drink a whole lot together.
Yes. So the chat described the sound as thick mac and cheese, which is exactly the sound I was picturing. That's awesome. But with a big spoon.
Oh God.
With reverb. It's so good. So okay, you Corbin, you go charging up, and with your full move, you can get right up there. So there are, as you move up, there is a central body, and this is like this kind of almost slow motion. There's a central body that's just pulsating and veiny and covered in this thick snot coming out of this woman's throat and the sort of base of her torso. And there are 4 tentacles, and they are ever getting tighter around your drinking buddy. So how do you approach attacking? Note that a critical failure will injure Oswald, as always, because that's what happened last time.
So I'm kind of thinking if these burst out of her throat, they're not looking like incredibly thick.
This is true.
So I'm thinking probably just a wide swipe at them.
Okay.
Trying to stop short of hitting Oswald.
Okay. So you're going to try to sort of swipe at sort of throat level, because obviously Oswald's not, lying across her. He's pushing back, right. And he's a strong dude. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's have an attack.
Maybe a good swipe, I can just knock them all 4 slice through them all at once.
Okay, let's have an attack roll. Okay, I will give you, if you get a critical success, Brave Halfling, you do just that on this roll. If you get a critical failure, then Oswald's going to be like, seriously, last time you lit me on fire. This is going to be -10.
-10.
And don't you get some kind of bonus when you're trying to protect him, or was that competing with him?
No, that's I get a bonus when trying to protect
Gotcha. Okay.
somebody else.
So this is about to
least you
get
didn't
gross.
cut
Anyone who happens to be watching the stream or watching the subsequent post on YouTube. So in attempting Halfling to swipe at these tentacles, you bury the tip of your dagger in the eye socket of this woman. Her eye pops, optical gel leaking out. You do not succeed, but man, is that gross. Next up in the initiative, I think is Oswald is occupied, acted. So that's going to be Bartleby. I think Geshwin's actually, ironically, the lowest initiative. What do you do, Bartleby?
Following the halfling's bravery,
Okay.
Bartleby will also move up and attempt to cut some of these tentacles that are binding around Oswald.
Okay, so you go charging up, witnessing obviously just as the halfling buries his dagger in this woman's face. you run up and let's have your attack.
Sure. Sorry, one sec. My character sheet is collapsed. There we go.
It is Camellia Leeches. Jesus.
Is that with -10 as well?
Yes, please.
Sure.
Oh Jesus! Maybe you bury your sword in a halfling's head. You've got a rapier, right?
Well, for this, Bartleby will be using his knife, more than likely.
At risk of so you pull out. You've got this badass like deer horn knife that you've had forever since the dock work. It's razor sharp, and you come in and you're just thinking, I'm gonna go at the stalk of these tentacles, and you stab this body right in its chin, up into its palate. There's a Monty Python-esque thing that you could think of. It's just you're just stabbing a corpse together, but that doesn't help. This is so gross. Cashwood, what do you do?
I'm going to kind of run up and see. Let's see, the halfling stabbing it. Oswald's ensnared with mac and cheese. I think I would be trying to. Wow.
Mac and cheese. Done. Yes.
I think I run up. I kind of have my rapier about ready to pull it out, but I'm like, I think I could do a lot more harm than good, depending on what I'm doing here. So I'm going to step down and try to.
Give me a
Oswald.
perception roll. Yeah. Great. Yeah. Never mind the perception. You have innate perception.
Perfect.
Give me a brawling roll for that, please. Your body weight, you think, exceeds that of even if this is like a hermit crab and there's more to the story inside of the corpse. Probably you outmass it. So you're coming in full speed.
Perfect.
So I'm going to ask you to give me just roll a d10, and I'm looking for a result under 5. Because I'm kind of trying to.
How do I re-roll? I spend a fate.
You can,
Fortune.
if you want to do that, you can. Fortune. Well, so you can. You're going to want to re-roll, so you can spend a fate.
Okay.
Or you
spend a fate.
Okay. Sigmar's light shines on you.
Try this again. Yeah, Sven would be so let down.
Yeah, he would. Jesus Christ! All right.
Oh no!
Remember when I said I would do worse than help? Yep.
Oswald is destined to be hurt by his friends.
And
At least he's not coming in with a weapon.
Yes, there will be rules advice arriving shortly, but yeah, it's been a while, so give us a little slack on that. But I would appreciate your input actually on the chat side. With this, 2 things. And I'm trying to go with realism. If you picture like a messenger who has just become faster in full run, adrenaline behind him, you step and just roll the shit out of your ankle.
Oh, fuck.
You hear that, and you feel it, probably not broken, but you careen into Bartleby, as you're kind of running up, just because they're sort of over him, and literally tackling him into Oswald, who rolls over and becomes more entangled in both Bartleby and tentacles. So there's this pile of weird tentacle Bartleby Oswald corpse. And you tumble off of it thinking, man, yeah.
Wow. I just let myself out.
Rolling off to the side, so I'm going to move you here. So you kind of roll over that pile. That brings us back around to Oswald. So Oswald, you are literally just trying to pull loose and use your power to get rid of this entanglement. And then just all this shit that I just described and the chaos happens, and you're now on the ground again and twice entangled. What do you do?
I think Oswald is going to, in the first immediate situation, I think he's going to try and just like bust his way out of it as best he can. I'm entangled, so I think I have to do like the strength thing. I think versus it. I'm not quite sure.
That's right. That is absolutely right. You make an opposed strength check. Just for speed's sake, I'm going to pull out normal dice.
Corbin is involved with the scene.
He's off to the side, stabbing it in its. Oh, you are right. You are right. I will give you that. In fact, there's this brief moment, Oswald, where the halfling's eyes meet. You're pulling and pushing. You glance up, and the halfling he's judging you, man. You see it. So take your bonus from your background. Good job remembering that.
Yeah, I don't like that I need help from this halfling. I gotta show him up, you know what I mean? I can't let my drinking buddy. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I can't let the halfling show me up, Corbin. You know.
In this moment, he's got tentacles poking into his ears and his nostril and his mouth, and he's glancing at the halfling like, oh, hell no. -2, but this opposed roll, you actually win it, so I rolled a 98. So the tentacles are busy laughing at the situation, I think, right? They're in the middle of murdering. You pull.
Do not have that. Here we go.
And break yourself loose from part of the tentacle. So remove one entangle, so you still have the one. But you also have a move. I don't know that you can really do much with it.
Can't.
Yep. Sorry. Moving on. Back to Grimwald. Grimwald, what do you do? So you've returned. You arrive. You run up just as this sort of like stabbing, beating, tackling thing happens. What do you do?
Get the knife and just grab one of the tentacles and start cutting it.
Okay. So you lean in and just because you're fazed by nothing. I'm going to ask you to test this awesome coolness that you have. But you're just going to reach in and grab the tentacle and start sawing through it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Make a cool check.
How difficult?
I think it's probably going to be... Okay, just
average.
The average is fine. Apparently, some things do bother Grimwald. So
nope. I'll use a resolve to not deal with that.
Okay.
A resilience or resolve. Whichever one it is.
Well, which one are you going for to reroll?
It's just ignore psychology for one round.
Oh, you cheater. Okay, fine. I'll take that. Dick. Thanks for reading the rules. Okay, fine. So you grit your teeth, and it's gross, man. You put your hand around this thing, and you can feel its little suckers sucking at your flesh, but it's fine. You squeeze it. Give me an attack roll, and give yourself actually a +10 for stabilizing it before you attack, please.
Any bonus for it being like 10 against 1 here?
I'm gonna say it's not really 10 against 1 so much as like all against all at this point. There's just a pile of weird flesh everywhere.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
No one knows what team I'm on at this point.
So you pull this tentacle up, stretching this thing out, and slash at it. It unfortunately is a bit rubbery, so you don't do a whole lot in the way of damage. And also,
it's a cheap knife.
Yeah, I know. You need to get a better one. Moving on. Bartleby, what do? You've been sort of you're in a wad, you're lying across your friend, you can feel a tentacle smushing against your face. What is the first thing that you do as you kind of hit the ground in this moment?
Bartleby is going to attempt to extricate himself from this before he gets entangled as well.
Nice. I'm going to ask you to just go ahead and give me a little bit of an extrication roll, please, in the form of agility.
Sure. In the form of what?
It was agility or dexterity in this game. God, I forget myself.
I have dodge as a class skill.
I believe
he's
that
not
agility
entangled.
is meant for
Agility is dexterity is fine dexterity, so agility is what I'm looking for.
yeah. Dexterity is what you use for like range damage and shit, or like not
Unless he
range
wants to
damage, but
very
range.
carefully peel the tentacles off of himself, and then, yeah, let's have agility. What the fuck, dude?
Party wipe by tentacle monster.
I know.
Yeah.
By
Throat
tentacle
beast.
face corpse kills
RNG
party.
is not being kind to us.
Look, I don't even know. You guys could get dice cams and use physical dice. So you try to leap forward, but what you do is you the warmth of your body crosses this this tentacle thing's path. It encircles your ankle with one of its tentacles and actually pulls you back. So you do crawl slightly past the corpse. I'm gonna you're kind of over here. And it sort of just, you feel the squeeze. It's incredibly strong despite its small size. So I'm going to take that, though, as your move.
Sure.
I'm going to let you have an action. What do? Do you stab the corpse like everybody else has been doing? Like maybe it's like a good luck thing.
Yeah, I mean, the Bartleby will hack at the tentacles that are trying to grip on him.
Okay. Give me a roll. Please don't fumble, because this is going to get weird.
Yep.
I'll start asking for volunteers. Who wants to be accidentally hit if this is a
Any modifier?
for God's sake, give yourself a 100% bonus, for fuck's sake. Cut it to no. This is I'm going to say this is a little tricky, so you're going to take a minus 20.
Oh my god.
It is.
Wow.
Panicking.
There's always fortune.
There is always fortune. It is up to you. Probably a good
I
idea.
would do it. Don't take a fumbling failure with 4 of us here. You might hit all of us. Or
That'd be
just
so sweet if you cut all 4 of their heads off like Kill Bill style.
So what does it mean to use a fortune?
So you reroll.
What's your fate? What's your fate actually before you like? What is like
3.
your
Fortune
fate is 3? So you have 3 fate per game. Like every game session, they refresh.
Yeah.
Technically,
You can reroll.
All right, I'm gonna reroll that attack.
And nice.
there we go. Yeah.
So you draw back your sword and you feel for a second not okay. You feel for a second like maybe Sigmar's light is not shining on you, and quietly in your head you say that little prayer, and then you swing, and you do in fact slice with a +1 success level. What is the damage for your weapon?
It's a dagger, so I don't know.
Strength bonus plus 2.
Strength +2.
Bonus +2. All right, so my strength bonus is. I think that'd be 5 damage, right? Am I reading this right?
Yeah, strength plus. Yeah. So
Is your strength bonus 3? Then it
Yeah.
would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the strength current on the character sheet, right? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
So you sort of slash out against the tentacle that's got your ankle. You carve into it, almost like cutting into a garden hose, and as you're pulling and scrambling instinctively away, it stretches the tentacle out where you've cut into it. It's like snaps and pops loose with just pure pus pouring out of the severed tentacle. You roll instinctively off to the side, and you are in fact off free from said tentacle. Good job. Corbin, what do you do?
Well, since I'm already got my dagger in the eye socket of the corpse, I'm going to
Make a
pull
cool
it out
check.
and try to stab that mass in its throat.
That's fine. Make a cool check as well, because I'd like to know how that affects you, because that eye's looking right at you, as popped as it is.
Any modifier?
No, we'll let you have it flat. All right. So the adrenaline overcomes this. Your friend, your drinking buddy, Oswald, you're saving his life. You'll think about the regret and strange situation later. Let's have your attack roll.
Average also.
Yay. Yeah, I'll give you that. Thinking about where you are. You're right there by her throat.
Yeah, I'm still not good.
Any desire to call on Sigmar?
I don't think I can do that.
I know
You
it
do
does,
if you have
doesn't it?
faith. It could be any god that you worship, like Memorandia, or there's like sect of gods. I think there's.
What I mean is, do you
specific
want to
god.
spend some points to make that shit work?
I have no fortune.
Oh, sorry.
You don't have any fortune. You have it
The
all in
unluckiest
other
halfling.
things.
I have no fortune.
So withdrawing your dagger from the eye socket of the corpse, you then think, I'm going to plunge it right there, and you just stab it right into the mouth of the corpse, next to the tentacles where they're writhing forth. You just right into the mouth, which is sad.
Damn it.
I know. Geshwin, your ankle hurts. You do not have a permanent injury, but my God, is it awful. What do? You're going to be at a -10 penalty, just on principle. You're lying on the ground. You're close enough that you can react. I mean, you're right there. You're just looking over.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to take out my rapier and try to slice and dice this thing.
Do it. Like the slap chop.
Oh boy. What is adding to my roll the it's fortune, right?
Yeah, you
For
can bring it up to 1 success level to your roll.
Okay.
Which I think would put you at 0. Which if I do believe that comes out to be just getting there.
Okay. I will spend a fortune to do that.
So you pause for a second, you reach into your pouch and pull out a fortune. No, you pull out your rapier and kind of you take a deep breath as you look at the situation and you just kind of cleave forward. So what's the damage on your rapier?
It is let's tab. It is strength bonus plus 4, so 7 total.
Nice. So you sort of, from where you are, your legs kind of splayed, you have your rapier kind of over your head and just bring it down between your ankles, right? Basically cutting the corpse's head off. Corbin, you've been outdone. But also you cut the stalk where the tentacles are. Oswald, suddenly you burst free because your full strength has been opposing the strength of this creature. You fling tentacles and pus everywhere. There's a shuddering and a silent death of said tentacle blob.
Oswald, again, for the second time today, does the eye swipe and removes the gooey bits from his eyes and then flicks it into Corbin's direction, like kind of like that. He like swipes it off his mustache as well, and he like looks around and like he reaches into his pack and he like grabs out his flint and steel are like actual, like it's like a little piece of flint and it's like a striker for a Bunsen burner, and like he lights his like torch because it was just a stick before, and he says like looking to everyone who's covered in pig.
Do you try to burn them?
Yeah, like Oswald just turns it down to the corpse and just starts lighting it up.
Okay, so let's unpack that for a second. So first, much like a fork at the end of a dinner, you have little, like with spaghetti pieces, you have tentacles intertwined among your ankle and your legs. So you pick those off and kick them loose, kind of step off to the side and kind of staggering back from this corpse. As you look down at it, it's almost like an incision at its neck, and it's kind of pushed open with this mass hanging out of it. And as you watch, and you're reaching in your bag and staring at it, right? Like in this moment with this shit still dripping on your face, you see these tiny little mushrooms start to sprout in the pus. You light your torch and it's moist and you're moist. Can I say moist on a stream? Anyway, you light your you light your torch. It takes a minute.
Been canceled.
Yeah. Oh, stream key is invalid. Maybe that's what happened earlier. Is like they did a moist count. So you do in fact try to light the corpse on fire, and there's some spitting and sputtering and other sounds that are illiterate in that. It does not light on fire, but it smells horrific. The clothing does eventually, in fact, light the wool. So you have a stink problem now. You're all standing around. What do you do in the moments as he's having a moment, a cinematic
mess?
Yeah. Clearly something's amiss at the farm.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of hobble over and like lean against this, so slightly away from the corpse, but not far enough that I'm struggling too much, and I'm trying to like check out my ankle. And
okay.
I don't know if I like wrap it if it helps at all. But.
You're all right. It was a strain, not a full-on sprain. It was just a really awful. Thank God you think to yourself, gods, Sigmar, whoever you worship, that you didn't actually injure it, because that would be bad henceforth. But standing back, like picture a wide shot with this lone gook-covered guy holding this torch to this corpse as it starts to smolder and the clothing burns. You notice that the wall you're leaning against, Bartleby, because you're observant, is also covered with these tiny mushrooms. Very small, very colorful mushrooms. What do you do?
I'll throw any scrap of wood or anything that's lying around here on the body so it burns a little better.
Okay. So you go over, and between all of you, sorry, I'm adjusting the music because it's like blasting me in the stream out. You guys can't hear it, but my God, it's loud. You create a pyre. You find some wood, kind of walking around the fence, and a barrel or some such, and basically create a fire. It doesn't take long. But all in told, about 20 minutes passes of your morning. It's about 11 by now, a.m. What do you do as you watch this body crackle and burn?
Just look around the farm some more.
Yeah.
So, at what point does Bartleby notice the mushrooms on the walls?
At the point that I said it. So you're leaning against it. So, yeah, what do you do? Sorry, I don't remember.
So as they go off and start collecting wood, Bartleby is just gonna stop leaning against the wall and turn and look and kind of do a double take.
Okay.
And see these little colorful mushrooms and just sort of say, gents, I think we're gonna need more of that fire. And he'll point to the wall.
I quickly scamper off of that wall.
So you push back from the wall. I love this. There's fire every fucking where. All of a sudden, damn it!
Just burn it all down. Just burn the drawings.
You give Oswald a pen, and so you're starting fires. You burn, of course, the body. You attempt to burn the fungus, and as you do, you hear this tiny squeak of pain as you hold the fire to it. It's momentary because obviously a torch is a large flame compared to these pieces of fungus. What do you do? Do you literally go around the whole property and burn every mushroom you find?
No. So if you want to get rid of those, there's a clear drawing tool.
No, leave it. It's beautiful. No, I'm just asking you. What do you do?
I know what Oswald's doing. He's got the torch just behind him, just behind his shoulder. That way it casts light in front of him, and he's gonna start going up to this door, and he's we need to deal with this. I know what happened. That's another body, and as he walks forward, he does the comet symbol with his finger like this, and as he walks up, and he's like, "Oh, Sigmar, damned," and he sees another body in the distance, and he's like, "Let's check these homes for anything useful. See if where the kids might have gone."
Give me a perception roll from this distance, if you would. As you step up, you do obviously notice the corpse. Do you walk right up to it, Grimwald? Jesus Christ, man! Do you realize we just
away from it?
Okay,
but make sure it's a corpse.
he runs right up to it. Do you
not to
poke
do
it in the
that.
throat, or you're like, hey, hey, hey?
I imagine we're coming up behind.
So Oswald, you stop and you say, "Is that a body?" And Grimwald is just curiously walking toward it, like, "Oh, it's obviously a body," and he's walking toward it. And the
And,
both
like,
of you,
I have the reaction of like, no.
no. So the both of you, you Grimwald way more than Oswald, because he's obviously behind you by quite a bit. Coming out of all of this thing's orifices are these. Well, I mean, you assume all of them. You probably all of them. If you really want to
doing a
check, I'm
thorough
going to tell
inspection.
you it's all of them. Are these tendrils, these tentacles, joining the ground and burying in like roots and stretching the flesh back, and they're moving so slowly. But as you, Grimwald, approach, they stop moving. You
I don't get any closer than that.
You don't go sit down next to it and like, hey man, what's up? You all right?
Got it.
What do you
Too
do?
familiar.
What do you do,
Definitely burn
Geshwin?
this one too.
You see Grimwald, Geshwin, as you're kind of back there and discussing with Oswald. I'm sorry, Oswald. Fucking Corbin and Bartleby about the flames and the sort of fungus. You notice Grimwald stepping up on something on the ground. You thought at first it might have been a sack of grain, but he stopped. What do you do?
So can I see the corpse?
You can see, not exact from where you are. You can make out the form of what seems more complex than a sack of grain, but given the color of the skin, it looks almost like burlap. So you know there's something there that he's looking at clearly, and he seems tentative about it. He's walking up on it slow.
I'm not in a rush. I don't think that's anything urgent. I just think he's kind of investigating things, so I'm gonna just kind of be like casually walking this direction, being cautious of my like ankle.
Do you
Not
call
rushing
out? Do
anywhere.
you? Yeah, you kind of limping along, right? You're a little strained, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what you got over there? Just not thinking anything of it.
Another dead farmer.
Don't get too close to it.
So is it like a child or is it like a
From
natural?
here, it's hard to tell. I will say, Grimwald, you notice he's a boy. It looks like your little brother. He reminds you of your little brother. He's probably 14. Well, he isn't 14 anymore. Or at least he won't be any older than 14 henceforth, let's say. His eyes have been sort of popped out of their sockets where this stuff is coming out of his eyes and making this nest-like pattern on the floor. His hand still grips what looks like a trowel. Maybe he was using it to defend himself. You don't know. How do you respond to that? You know, you hear Oswald call it. Is it a child?
You should bring the torch over there.
Hearing that it's another body, I think it's safer to investigate over here.
Back in.
Yeah, Oswald says, we'll make sure to burn it all.
Bartleby,
But
what are you
let us
doing?
investigate to see if there's more. Savin said there were children.
Bartleby, what are you doing?
Bartleby will advance towards this other body.
Okay.
I'm gonna come back while you're going that way and just like, I have a torch. I'm gonna ready that torch, and I get like a couple, so hand them out so everybody has a torch should they need it.
Or a burning stick even. Like,
Yeah, burning
Yeah,
stick.
yeah.
I think all of us actually start with a torch, so...
Everyone starts with a torch. You wake up in the morning, you got your torch, it's fine. What?
I
So-
actually
Beaten
did
stick.
not start with a torch since
Oh, you
it
did?
doesn't really do very much for canvas.
Bullshit, you could cook stuff over a torch.
You wrap the canvas around the torch.
Tastes weird.
Not that kind of canvas.
So you kind of moving around, and Grimwald's standing there. You're staring down at this thing, and you're looking at its face, in its eyes, and you're watching this, whatever it is. It seems to be coming, and there's too much of it coming out of its eyes down into the ground and spreading out. right? Like with the roots, like these very familiar roots. And Jim's like, oh, let me find something to throw in that. But you're watching this just come out.
Bring me an extra.
Yeah. Where's Sven? Come back here. You're looking down at this thing and watching its mouth just kind of open in these tentacles and these tendrils.
Go find a torch and burn it.
Okay.
Just throw the torch on it.
You return and bravely, as the rest of your party's back there with torches watching. Like, yeah, we got torches here. You want that? You do light this corpse on fire.
Please.
And it burns. As you put the torch to the flesh of these things, explain to me how you go about that, please. You just toss it on there? Do you hold it to it? Like, what do you...
Throw some scrap wood around it and then toss the torch right onto that, like right on the chest.
So you grab the wagon wheels off to the side, right? These sort of fractured, meant for repair later wagon wheels. You drag them over. And do you guys just watch the servant... And we know he's not going to stay a servant, but do you just watch Grimwald the servant do this? Like, arms crossed?
Hey, some oil might help.
I think Oswald's, like, moved past that because of what he's doing.
What are you doing?
I think he's going to this door and is going to try to open it and get inside.
Okay.
Like, as he's going about, like, burning stuff down, because I imagine this is all kind of happening at the same time.
Yeah, it
Whereas,
is.
like,
It is very
Oswald
much.
continued on, like, he's got his torch in his hand, and he's moved on to, like, go towards this door, and he's kind of oriented himself towards it. It's like, make sure you check that building back there. We will go in here. Come on, Corbin.
So Bartleby's whole purpose in life to this point has been to pick up heavy things. So seeing him moving the wagon wheels, he'll go over and
Oh
help.
shit! Yeah, you're like, this I can do. Okay.
Yeah.
This is my
He's sort of-
wheelhouse.
He's sort of like burying his fear in his work.
Yeah. No, that
things
was
up and
good.
put them
I
down.
caught
That was
that.
a good one, John. That was a good one.
Wheelhouse.
Thank you.
You tried real hard that one.
Anybody who
But it was-
comments,
got
anybody
it.
who comments wheelhouse first in the YouTube is gonna get a Myth Brigade T-shirt. But you have to give me your address first. So I can't get you a T-shirt. So okay, give me go ahead and give me a strength roll for the giant wagon wheel, which is clearly half the size of the building. I didn't draw the map, not my fault. So go ahead and do that. For kicks, meanwhile,
It's a big wagon.
Oswald, what do you approach the door? It is, in fact, it has an iron pull ring there, where you may pull it shut, and there's a keyhole. Bartleby's like, hell yeah, it's like, got this. So you heft, and it's almost like, yes, it's a centering thing. You feel the weight on your shoulder, and that old pain in your back kicks in, and you carry this wagon wheel over and just flop it on the corpse. As soon as you flop it on the corpse,
Oh boy.
there's a sound of like, no, there's some of these tendrils from in the earth spawn up and just start grappling with the wood, pulling it tight, like trying to crush it. Grimwald's there with the fire, lights it on fire. Oswald, what do? You open the door? You just fling it open?
Is it locked? Like, you said it had a key lock.
Yes, well, there is in fact a keyhole there. You don't know. You'd have to try. It's sort of an unlock and push. There's not like a knob and all that fancy
Yeah,
stuff.
oh yeah.
there.
Well, what I was thinking was like a medieval lock system where it's like made out of a system of strings, actually. So like Oswald like does try to just open the door. Does that not work?
It does.
Okay.
And you feel vindicated. Although you were like, just wait for this because I got this. I can pick it.
Yeah, I got this on lock.
Yeah. Yeah. So you open the door. You allow the door to sort of coast open, shall we say. Opens to the right. You notice this table there. You can still smell the scent of what seems like a recent cooking fire in here. The shuttered windows are closed. Maybe whatever happened at night, you think? What do you do as you look into this room?
I seem to have disappeared, so.
You did?
You're over here.
Yeah, where the fuck did you
Yeah,
go?
I can't see.
I don't even know how that got over there.
I don't either. That's pretty cool. Hey, roll 20. If you see this, you're making us want to move to Fantasy Grounds. Okay, so you cast teleport.
Just teleported from one building to another. That's
Yeah,
it.
I mean, don't you know that Oswald's like a high level? I mean, Oswald just, waltzes in like he owns the place. Cause,
Well, no, first you teleport into the other building and then you waltz.
Yeah, but I kind of just put my fingers to my temple and just over
And then
there
you cast
real quick.
pass wall to get out, and then now you're back.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So
Yeah, and then
you just
as
walk
I'm
in.
opening the door, Oswald like walks in. He's got the torch just behind his head, and he like walks in with like the kind of gumption that he kind of owns the place. Like he's from a like noble adjacent kind of family, so like he kind of has that expectant attitude. So
So
Since
stepping.
he asked me to follow him, I go into the doorway, but kind of looking skeptically at this dagger that I seem to not be very good with.
Wow, that's very self-deprecating, I must say. You step in. You
Well,
again.
I'm not a warrior. It's
You
not
can
a paintbrush.
smell. Yeah, you can smell the scent of yesterday's cooking fire, a couple days old, whatever. It's a sort of faint wood smoke smell. You see a well-used rug in the floor, obviously hand-woven, not a fancy pattern or anything like that. The table in the back there, and actually let me reveal more since you're standing in here with who has a light source, because again, all the shutters are closed.
Oswald.
Okay, good, got it. And yes, I know dynamic lighting's possible, but I'm also very lazy. You'll learn this about me over time.
Hey, if you want it done, I will do it for you.
No, but that's cheating because then you'll know everything. You'll be like, "Oh, dude, hey guys, I know all about this map." You looking around the room, there's a staircase which goes into a loft area ahead. You don't know what's going on there. Underneath that is mostly storage. There's an awful lot of sort of cross-utilization here. To the south there, Oswald, near you, is a big pile of firewood, very organized, and you admire it from an OCD perspective. Geschwind, are you really standing by the gate? Just a sanity check?
No, so I was getting the torch, and then I'm kind of deciding which way.
He's just there. The torch.
I think.
Hi, everyone.
Well, no, I think with the backstory and bonds, I would be going towards Grimwald.
Yeah.
Do it. I mean, I just say Corbin because like Oswald's tied to Corbin a little bit more close knit than the rest of it.
Oswald's probably also like get Geschwind as far fucking away from me as possible.
Yeah, no. Geschwind's like a bad luck charm. Like whenever he's around, all he gets lit on fire. He gets potentially stabbed.
True.
It's a love-hate thing, man. Come on.
It's not that he doesn't like him. It's just
bad luck.
Geschwind's bad luck, man.
So you guys, switching over, Grimwald, what are you doing? So you're there at his door. Do you open the door as well?
Yeah, once we're all set up here, Bartley and Geschwind, you want to see what's in here?
Bartleby's like, fuck you, I will throw you into some vines.
I'll try the door.
You look over your shoulder, Bartleby, how are you feeling about this, man? Are you good? Are you gonna...
Bartleby's definitely, shaken, but he's been shaken by everything that's happened over the last 48 hours, and he's sort of, like, attenuating it out. So he's kind of coming around to just like wanting to get this over with as quickly as possible. And he's just sort of gritting his teeth and bearing it.
So Grimwald, you push open the door. There is no lock here. It's just a nice iron ring. There's a stench in here. You've always hated it. It's oats. You hate the smell of oats. It's a storeroom. There are barrels and bags and other store type stuff. The floor is strewn with hay. It's nefarious hay as far as hay goes, but other than that, you're okay. And now we switch back to the other room. So you guys, what are you doing wandering around this room as they're pilfering the oats?
So Oswald, as he's moved into and he like made a note of the neat storage, he goes over to this actual like shelf. I assume this is where they kind of like lived and what it looks lived in.
It does absolutely.
He's looking for anything that might be of like use, so like a lamp oil or like some sort of like alcohol or maybe even sort of like Really, I think that's what he's looking for. Maybe just lamp oil and alcohol.
So you find a lamp on the table. It's not lit, but there is lamp oil in it, which is great.
Yeah, I instantly pick that up and hook it to my pack. Like, that's another lamp. You know what I mean?
Yep. So you noting that, be careful, because remember how flammable you were last time. But okay. So
trust me, I know exactly what I'm doing. Oswald's looking for flammables.
So time check, we're getting close. I just want to be mindful of that. So you Oswald, you're standing there and you reach up to the shelf and you do in fact see what's very likely an oil flask. It's like a abode, right, shaped thing. The way where it's sitting just gives you the vibe, next to some various other sort of utility things. There's like tallow candles there. You hear a bit of a shuffle for a second up in the loft. You think for a second that you might hear sniffling, like there's fear in there. What do you do? You hear this as well, Corbin.
Oswald just like looks over his shoulder as he like finally grasps that the oil flask over at you, Corbin, with like a. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it came from up there.
He points up to the loft with his stubby little finger.
And like Oswald does the like thing where he's like, no, it came from over there, and like he like directs his finger
north.
Where it's supposed to be. Yeah. And no, he kind of without like really speaking, it's just kind of the way Oswald is. He's more of like a I'm gonna go see it for myself kind of guy. Man of science, obviously. But he just makes
there's science up there.
Stairs.
You step over to the steps. So the steps that you see there is this fairly steep and cheaply made ladder. So you will not be able to have like an armada of weaponry climbing said ladder. You could probably climb it with one hand and just kind of and one weapon, but you won't be able to have a torch and a weapon and climb. So what do you do?
I might look over to Corbin and like offer the torch to him, like so he can hold it for me.
Corbin, what do you do? He's way over there. Do you move up?
I'll move up to him and take the torch.
Because man, it would be kind of insulting if you had to that makes sense. So you take the torch. The light source is low, which is a little weird, but that's fine. So it won't cast much light, to be honest, up into the loft. So there's going to be a lot of shadow, just to be clear, if you think about how light works. There'll be something, but unless he climbs up right behind you.
Well, I use this opportunity
then I might
reach
set him
down,
on fire.
Reach down and get my that new lantern that I just picked up.
Okay.
And light it.
All right. So again, you light your lantern on the torch, turn it up, and kind of get it going. It's actually pretty nice as far as lanterns go for this time. You will not be able to have a weapon in a lantern and other shit and climb the ladder, but
that's fine. I have a lantern that can be used as a weapon.
You're right.
It will be used as a weapon. If
all right. So you climb up. So step for step as you move up, you start to see this. So there's multiple beds up there. This family clearly doesn't exactly live in the best conditions. There's two small beds here. You think they're probably kids' beds. And the one to the left, you're not entirely certain, but it seems occupied. The sheets there's something underneath them. And there's a shuffling very suddenly as the light spills up there and you kind of shine the lantern holding it high above your head. There's a shuffling into the corner and you hear, "Daddy, Daddy." What do you do? This stops you in your tracks. There's a sudden chill down your spine.
I'm not your daddy, little girl. I'm Oswald. Who was right?
There's a shuffle under the bed, almost like as you kind of reach the top here of. I can't move you, but if you kind of clear the steps, there's a shuffling. There's something under the bed. It won't stop. It won't stop.
I think Oswald, where he is,
Where's Daddy?
where he is, he like puts the lantern down on the floor and like he like lowers himself completely onto the floor, well away from the bed, to like get a look at what's underneath the bed.
Okay. So, you put yourself where you are. Do you stay on the ladder? You climb back down the ladder so you can see straight? You think? Okay. You get close enough the light will go under there.
Yeah, like I angle the light under, like I set down the lantern, and then I like look underneath the bed from like where I'm at with the light casting forward.
You do. So you kind of lean down, lantern in front of you, which now at least you're out where you can kind of wield your stick, right?
Yeah, and so I get up there and like as I said, put the lantern down, and then I like lower myself completely onto the floor, but I've got like a stick near me or like something clubbing capable.
So the light spills out across the wood, and it does get more diffuse and darker the further in, and so there's a lot of shadow under the bed, but you do in fact see just kind of reflection off the wall, the flickering of the flame. There's a shape under the bed. It's little, it's trembling, and its hands reaching out. There are eyes. You can almost see the reflection of the fire in those little eyes as they look out at you. Get my daddy. Please. Help me. What do you do, Oswald? Corbin, what do you do? You hear this from up there. What are you doing? You just chilling with the torch? Like the Statue of Liberty or something?
If he's cleared the ladder, I'll go up behind him.
Okay. So I'm going to say right about that time, given the amount of time that we've been talking, right, you've arrived right there at this. So you see him prone and he's looking down. Oswald, how do you respond to that?
I think Oswald looks to the back up to Corbin over his head before he says anything. He's like, Sven sent us to come find you.
You look over your shoulder. And I don't mean to be interrupting on purpose.
Yeah,
you look over your shoulder at him and you're like, wow, and you start to say that. Corbin, as you top the ladder, crawling like a crab is this racked, misshapen wreck of a corpse just from underneath this bed.
Look out!
It's flopping its wrist, which is clearly broken and just rotating unnaturally, and there's this weird sprout of some tentacular grossness that's helping it move quickly, and as it hauls ass toward you, so the camera smacks back as Oswald looks back at this thing. And we're gonna start next round with next episode with a combat. We'll stop here.
Yes. But no, don't stop it there. Go.
I have to. It's 11:03. Jim's got to go.
Man.
What? Just like, give me one last Oswald quote. I love this. You look back. What do you do?
No, I wasn't talking about me. I wanted to see what was happening to them as they like entered in the room.
What do you do? I want to know what you do. So you glance back, you look, and then there's this weird spider floppy flap thing.
I don't think there's really a reaction. I think he just kind of like goes wide-eyed, and there's like a hand on top of the handle as the last shot of like his his lantern, and like I'm either hell or high water. I'm gonna smash this thing in the face with a full lantern of oil.
Awesome. It's like part child, part demon-possessed ravioli coming your way.
Oh, no! Oh, God!
Next time we get together, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be respectful of time. I got to get up early tomorrow. Jim, I know you got to go to dinner.
Yep.
You guys have fun?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think I figured out what direction I'm going to take Bartleby to, so Jason, I'll talk to you about that offline.
Please do.
Yeah.
Let's figure out a time, and if you're up for it, let's do a one-on-one stream, and we'll record it and put that up later.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
So, James, you good?
Mm-hmm.
Having a good time? Eric?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep, fun as
John.
always.
Brutal. We're good.
I hope you have fucking nightmares for saying it. You're supposed to, yes, I'm having fun. Oswald, Rivers, you having a good time?
Oswald is not having fun. This is the second time today that something's exploded in his direction. So,
In game or out?
no, I said Oswald.
It's like Chef Boyardee if the red sauce were pus. That's what's going on
Oh
here.
God! Is like the bed? It's like hermit crab shell.
Oh God, yeah.
Is it like
It's-
on top of it and like?
No, it's,
Whole bed comes with it.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh God, it's like part of the bed. Oh, Jim, are you doing good, man? Are you having fun?
Yeah, for sure.
Outstanding.
I've been a little iffy on it because I just haven't known what direction I was gonna go, but I think I figured it out tonight. It's gonna be okay.
Out fucking standing. Guys, thanks for joining. Let's figure out when we're going to join next. I'm going to end the stream exactly right when I find the button to end